All right, welcome back to Life It with DVD. Thanks for being here. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that is very important to me. I think I'll probably call this video The Only Inheritance That Matters. And the reason kind of want to talk about this is my uncle had passed away this morning, and it's obviously it stings a bit. I wasn't too close with him, but I was closer with him growing up, and I mean, still, even thinking about growing up, I didn't actually, you know, you, it's hard to kind of know somebody when they're older than you and you're still a kid. But um, looking at it now, I was always amazed at how tight knit his family was. And my six cousins from that side of the family. And I remember going over there a few times to his house, and just all of the fun that they had together. And it really stuck out to me as like just being a great environment for my cousins and for them to grow up in. And I just remember looking back at that and feeling like, what is this place? They had just like all of the stuff to do with them at their house, that they all got to do together, and they all had a lot of fun. And and that was a bit different from my direct family a little bit. But but ultimately, it was just a really interesting kind of thing to look at from the outside looking in. And you could really tell that there was like a lot of love in their family. So to that end, I it has me thinking about what matters in a relationship like that, with your kids. And ultimately, it comes down to love. So a lot of people, right, get caught up in the trap that your kids need this and that to succeed in life. The right preschool, right extracurriculars, all sorts of things that you know you need to ultimately put on a resume. But sometimes I think that modern modern parenting looks at the wrong thing. That you're focusing on the wrong portfolio. So what is the greatest asset that you can give to your kids? Something that can't be lost. Something that's internal, right? And that it's unconditional love, right? Unconditional love is the perfect foundation for building any, parent-child relationship. It's it builds unshakable self-worth. That you're enough exactly the way you are. You don't need anything else. Now, it's not without discipline, for sure, right? You need discipline to be able to, hone your children and get them to, understand how the world works. But at the same time, right, you don't take away the love, right? You are steady with it. You are unwavering. And the result is that your child knows their intrinsic value, and it allows them to then take healthy risks out in the world without falling apart, having a mental breakdown, getting led astray into the things of the world that the world will try to take from us. Um, you know, And that way they don't need external validation to, have their own self-worth. So this also cultivates better resilience, right? Life is hard, right? So we say. Right? But it doesn't have to be, right? If you have, that confidence, that validation, that unshakable self-worth from, the bedrock of love, right, from a parent, um, you know, you're not you're not gonna be you're going to be able to get back up after heartbreak, after everything that knocks you down. Um, and ultimately, this isn't about never failing. It's about knowing that, you know if you're encountering struggles, that you're gonna have a soft place to land and someone that's gonna support you no matter what you're going through. Now they're gonna, I'm sure, give you their own 2 cents, but telling them that, I got you, right, is critical encouragement, to getting back up and getting back out there. This also fosters more authenticity as well, and not just performance for the sake of pleasing people, right? When love is the constant, right? You don't need to perform a character to receive it, right? You don't need to receive, you don't need to perform to receive that love. It's not conditional. They're free to discover their true interests, their identity, their passions, and their personality without pressure that they're going to be judged by the outside world for the things that they are. Um, and then the result is you get an authentic human being, that maybe doesn't have a polished resume, but that they're a real person, and they get to have the freedom to become themselves. Um, this also teaches them how to love, right? Which then creates a ripple effect that they can give back to their kids. Um, so that gift of love doesn't just start and end with them. It ripples and echoes throughout the generations. And it's also one thing that just can't be taken away, right? Markets crash, companies fail, careers change, you have heartbreak, you lose people, achievements fade, but at the end of the day, right, if you have that knowledge that you have a deep relationship with your parents, that deep unconditional love, right, nothing can take that away. And that isn't a gift. That is a gift that sustains them and can sustain anybody when it feels like all else is lost. So the practical, the takeaway from this is, listen more than you lecture your children, right? It's important to have boundaries. It's important to have discipline, but it needs to be discerning. It needs to be reasonable. Separate the deed from the doer, right? Um, don't discipline the behavior, but reaffirm. Sorry, discipline the behavior, but reaffirm the love no matter what. Um, be their safe harbor, right? Let them know that they are home, right? It doesn't even matter the home that you're in, right? They are the home. The parent is the home, and then say it. Say it as often as you need to. All right. Assume like they never know, and tell them all the time that you love them, because when you build a foundation like this, just rooted in love, right? So much good can come out of it, not just for them, but for the whole world. And going through all of these things here, it's like they have that. My cousins have that, and I wasn't always very close to them, but you could see it from the outside looking in that like this is what they had, and it was a beautiful thing. So to that end, I just, think about that legacy. Think about what you're going to leave behind when, this reality ends for you, right? There's not much that you take with you. There's not really anything that you take with you. So what you leave behind is ultimately going to be what matters. And, don't you want to leave it a better place than you had come into it? I think that's the goal for a lot of people, and a lot of people pour that into work and things that are important to them. But think about where it matters most, right? Where do you have the most impact, the most direct effect? And usually it's with your children. So keep that in mind. That your inheritance is the only thing that matters, right? The inheritance of love. So I hope my uncle is able to hear this as the tribute to him, and I pray he rest in peace. And yeah, if you enjoy this video, like or subscribe. Wanted to do this as a tribute to him today, so yeah, to that end, let me know your thoughts on this, and how you might parent yourself. So thanks for watching, and until tomorrow, I'll see you later. Bye.